Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Sorry I've been away for some time. I've been quite busy. That was why I've not been dropping some videos. So today I'm going to look at a common issue that occurs in Next.js, which is the window not defined error. Like you see here, window is not defined, and we're going to be looking at how to solve this error. This is going to be a quick one. So this is just a simple Next.js application that was scaffolded. The version is version 14, version 14.0.3. And here I have in this page, I've removed the default page screen and just placed the button here. And here I'm having a state here, which is the screen size and the set screen width. So I'm passing the window dot inner width here, and here we have a function. We are not using this function. Let's just get rid of it. So basically, then we're console logging the screen size. So if we save this, I'm running the server. You can see it here. You can see we have a Windows is not defined error here. And sometimes the error won't show up on your front end, not until you push to the repo and it's building, and it will refuse to build because of this error. So how do you address the error? And sometimes it will only show up in your server log, just like we have here, showing up in the server log. So it really depends, if I remove this, I think the question mark, the error should come up. So it really depends on, So I'm just going to restart the dev server here, just to show you. So I'm running on port 3000, and then let's refresh here. The error seems not to be coming up. I don't know what is going on. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to remove this, and then we don't need this again. So I'm going to save card. Let me do something like this. Let's see if the error will come up. The error is refusing to come up. It's refusing to show up. So we're using Windows here. I'm just going to create this function, const. Just call it an action function. And I'm going to do something like this. And then I'm going to take this on click. So it's still refusing to show up. Maybe because we are using use client. Let me comment this out. Yeah, you can see that it's now showing up. Sometimes even when you use the use client, and Windows will still throw window dot inner with whenever you're using the window object to still throw an error. So I'm just going to show you all those edge cases, show you how to fix all those edge cases. So like we said, the first thing is to use the use client, which will tell Next that it is a client client application. This is a client component. So forcing it to run on the client. I think the reason why it was not showing the error was because I think they've updated it in version 14. Remember, we're using next version 14. But if you are trying this in next 13 or lower, it will throw an error. Even if in next year's 13, I know even if you use client, sometimes it will still throw an error. So the first thing to do is to use the use client. Add the use client to your component, which turns it to a client-side component and not a server-side component. So this makes it accessible. Windows will now be accessible. Now, if that does not work, the next thing you want to do is you want to move all your instance of Windows dot whatever, maybe .local storage. You want to move it inside of a use effect, because use effects only runs on the client side, so it will force it to run when the browser is ready. So I'll show you an example of that. We can have something like this, and then you can just change this to, you can initialize this as 0, so we wouldn't need this again, or we can still leave it there. So like I said, you move all the instance of Windows into a use effect, and let's import this use effect and save it. So this will force it to run on the client side, and then the third thing you can do is, add a check, which is the type of Windows. Check if type of Windows is not equals to undefined. What this does is it checks if window is available without actually calling Windows. So you just check the type, which is check if it is declared or defined in the scope or not. So if it is not defined, it will just return an undefined, rather than throwing an error. So this keeps you safe, from a whole lot of error. If I remove this check now, I'm just going to remove the check and remove this use client, you will see I'm already even getting an error for the use effect. It's not allowing me use effect without use client, because this only runs on the front end. So you need to keep that at the back of your mind, that use effect only runs in a Next.js application, on the client side, in the browser. So this is you will put a check. That is why this is able to run once we include the use client. You see that it's compiled here already. So you can just add an additional check, to check if window is not undefined. That will just safeguard you from a lot of problems, because in some versions of Next.js, it will still throw an error if you don't add this check. So you must keep that at the back of your mind. Now, if you have done all this and you are still having the window error, like I was working with one application and I was getting, it will run even in the server, it will run. But once I push to Git, and once it starts building, it will fail. In the cloud, it will fail, and it will throw an error that window is undefined in the server log. So I've done all this and I was trying to look for what the problem is. I couldn't see the problem. I even tried changing, this to use some packages, that checks if it is ready to use the client, if window is ready, but none was working. But what I later discovered was that I installed the package which used window internally. So the package was a payment gateway paystack, one of paystack npm packages. So this package adds a window implementation internally, which did not take into account the Next.js error, the Next.js mode of operation. So it was throwing an error. It was what was throwing the error. I had to uninstall it and install another one which does not make use of the window internally. So if you've done all this and you're still getting the error, you want to check the recent packages you installed last. Check them out, uninstall them one after the other until you find out which of the package is giving you is throwing the error. So that will bring us to today's end of the tutorial. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel for more tutorial like this. So one last thing which I would like to also state is, if you are using the external, maybe a library module like this, you're implementing some code which is not in a component, you might also need to add the use client to it. For example, using Redux, you have to add the use client to it, because Redux also runs only on the client side, and you might be using Redux and also using local storage to persist. So in that case, you probably also have to put this check just to make sure, to undo edge cases and to save you a whole lot of problem. So thank you for joining me for this tutorial. See you next time.